If you just do it, it'll turn out okay. And welcome back to Dino Week, or Dino Mini Series.
Yes, hello, folks. Hope you're having a good evening.
We got Dino Doc here, and we've got myself, Nessie, Wild Paleo.
Yeah.
Good to see y'all again.
Of course, we got me.
Oh, yeah,
So-
of course. How could I forget you? Talking with Caffeine, Mr. Vindalia over here. He's a big part of our resource. He's a good guy. If you're
For
not
sure.
following him, you should follow him as well.
And vice versa.
That's
We're all streaming on all 4 of our channels. My YouTube, her YouTube, his YouTube, and my Twitch. So check them all out.
Oh, let's see. Are you playing? Oh, you're not playing World of Warcraft this time.
Well, my account is disabled until I get until you gotta pay for that stuff.
Okay,
Play it.
That's fair.
Good to see you, Kaden and Cody. Good to see y'all.
Yeah, howdy, folks.
Thanks for being in here.
Yeah, we should have a.
We're talking about allosaurids.
Yep,
Yep.
we've
Did I
moved
say that
away.
right? Allosaurids.
Allosauroids. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Our
talking
first,
about
our first of the theropods group.
Mhm.
Yes, this is our
Mhm.
first time getting into a.
Thank goodness. I've been waiting for theropods forever.
Sorry, had some microphone issues. We've just been going through the ornithischians.
Yeah, lots of ornithischians, but now we're into the theropod territory,
Yes,
and we're ready for this.
we're into the meat-eating metosauruses.
Metasaurus.
So
And
of this
okay.
group, there is no current living descendant group of these, right?
Correct. All the allosauroids are extinct. Well, at least as far as we know. There
Yeah.
could be some weirdos out there. What? Sorry. She has cats. They're being cats.
Cats are being cats.
So you might hear some things in the background.
Well, since these aren't technically the bird ancestors, but they're close enough. Maybe the cats are hungry.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, well, they eat all the flowers off the roses on Valentine's Day, so makes sense to me.
Yeah, apparently her cats like to eat flowers.
Yeah, I should have bought the ones with the thorns on them. Teach them a lesson. Not that mean.
All
Yeah,
right.
back in
Oh.
the way back in the ancient days of the 1980s, this was my favorite group of dinosaurs.
I mean, I don't blame you. They're a really interesting group. Allosaurus kind of gets seen as a basic theropod by a lot of people,
Yeah,
but
it is not a basic theropod.
yeah, I think it's doing it a pretty big disservice.
This one's in my backyard.
Yes, we will talk about that. Nessie and I
there.
have both found allosauroids, and we will get into that later.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Anything else to go over, do you think, Vandalia? Nessie? Think you're good to start?
Are we ready to start, Mr. Vandalia?
Yep, ready when you are.
Okay,
All
let's
right.
go.
Well, we can go ahead and begin then with our allosauroids. As always, I like to cite/source the images I use. This is one of my favorite video game representations of Allosaurus.
The wide jaw.
Yeah, with the big wide
She's
jaw.
gorgeous.
I'll have to play the roars for you later. They're spectacular.
Do the roar.
This is from the Isle, which has a history, let's say.
That's a
Oh.
scary visual game.
Oh, real fast. We currently have 16 viewers watching right now.
That's pretty good. Oh, and I will say, we will answer whatever questions we can that pop up in chat. But if you would like your questions to be highlighted for us, please make sure to send them in a super chat.
Yeah.
Or just add us too. We're not picky.
Yeah, super chat or the Streamlabs things for me, since I don't have since I'm currently not what's the word, monetized yet.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh, then of all of us, I guess I'm the only one that is. Well, if you want to send in any dino questions and have them highlighted, you can send a super chat on my channel.
Yeah.
All right. Shall begin. So, it has been literal months, if not actually, I think close to a year since we last covered a Saurischean, let alone a theropod. So, I want to do a super quick review on dinosaur phylogeny. So, obviously, you have your dinosaurs. They're a member of a group of reptiles called archosaurs, which also includes crocodiles and pterosaurs. The dinosaurs branch into two main types of dinosaurs. You have the ornithischians, which have been all of our previous streams, basically. So the plant-eating dinosaurs.
And then the Saurischeans
are mostly carnivores, with some exceptions. Well, actually, one big exception, the sauropods are also Saurischeans. Ornithischians and Saurischeans are generally distinguished by their hip shape. That gets weird with some birds and some not birds.
That would be a
Some
lot
not
of meat for a
birds.
sauropod to eat,
Non-avian.
to float those bodies.
Some not birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's true too. Either way.
Yeah. And today we are focusing specifically on the theropods, and
Mhm.
even more specifically, a subset of theropods called the allosauroids.
So they're the two-footed meat eater dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Theropod.
No.
Yep.
Quick
Yeah,
question
but
for
I'm
you
just
guys.
trying to explain
Oh, yeah.
for
Are
theropods are the two-footed, two-legged
yes. I was gonna ask you.
meat-eating dinosaurs.
Yes.
Are they the only ones that never went back to that went back to quadrupeds?
That's correct. Yes.
As
They
far as
never
we
went
know.
back. As far as we know, they never went back to four legs.
Mhm.
But theropods, as far as we know, are the two-legged meat eaters.
Let's see.
Except
Also,
for some of
super duper quick.
except for some
hi,
more of the modern. Sorry,
Hi,
except for some more of the modern versions of this family who started eating nuts and berries nowadays in modern times.
Well,
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
So it's complicated. There are a few groups of theropods that do turn into plant eaters, but none of the allosauroids do. So that's
Right.
all for a separate stream.
That's gonna be a whole nother biscuit. Of
Yes.
cans.
And
Can of biscuits.
and not just birds either. There's some weird plant-eating theropods that we'll
Mhm.
eventually get to.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, once again, dinosaurs, theropods. Within theropods, there are a bunch of different groups. So, what we've normally done in the past is we start with the most basal members, but we decided to kind of shake it up for this stream.
Yeah.
So, we're actually going to be skipping a few of these early prongs in the family tree, and we're going right over here to the allosauroids.
Yeah, to the middle.
So, as I said, divisions within theropods. Once again, theropods are bipedal and usually carnivorous.
Mm-hmm.
Within theropods, there's a group called the tetanurans, or tetanurae. Tetanurae means stiffened tail. And as you can probably guess, all of these dinosaurs have... Sorry, my microphone's not wanting to behave. If we have any audio issues, people let me know.
Can y'all hear us okay?
I can hear you fine.
Okay.
We'll just assume it'll survive.
I think she's fine.
Hopefully.
Probably fine.
Anyway, so tetanurae have these big stiff tails, usually just big tails.
And don't they usually have less than 3 fingers?
Yep.
3 fingers or less.
Three
right?
fingers or less. I don't think there are any. Well, there might be some basal tetanurans with 4 fingers, but most of them
No,
have 3.
Like a Belosaurus.
Those aren't tetanurans.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they're ceratosaurs.
Wow. Ceratosaurus. Okay.
And then within that subset of tetanurae are the avitheropods.
Mm.
Now, if you know Latin, you know that aves means birds. So these are the bird theropods. And as you can probably guess, they have, well, I'm not sure why you'd guess this. They have very pneumatized skeletons, meaning they have a lot of air spaces in their bones.
Mm.
Even theropods like T-Rex, which are also members of this group, have these big air pockets in their vertebrae and their ribs, and often in their skulls. They just have a
fenestra, especially.
Yes, they also get these big, just holes in the skull called fenestrae that you will see on some of the dinosaurs in the show, or a slideshow, actually. And within these avitheropods, one of the earliest branching groups are the allosaurids. They're a group characterized by these massive, just flesh-shredding jaws. Their teeth are usually recurved, so curved back, and thick. They actually look like knives. Serrated like them too.
Yeah, but the
So
serrations.
when did they branch off from the rest of other?
It took about 30 million years for the certain serrations
Well,
to branch.
No, he's meaning when did allosaurids?
Oh, I thought you
we'll
meant
talk about
Tyrannosaurids.
we'll talk about the shark-toothed lizards.
Okay.
The allosaurids branched off in the early to mid-Jurassic. The earliest ones we have are about 160 million years old, give or take. And in fact, our first allosauroid, which might not be an allosauroid, is that old.
Monolove. What's up, Monolove?
Yes. This is Monolophosaurus zhangai. Its name means single crested lizard. It was named partially in reference to Dilophosaurus.
And this was found in the middle of Jurassic, right?
Yes, 160 million years old.
Ah, okay.
And then the species name, zhangai, apparently refers to like a hotel/tavern that existed near where the skeleton was found.
That's interesting.
Yeah, apparently it has a lot of history to it. So, just kind of neat. And yeah.
So it's similar to other basal theropods.
Yes.
Are found like similar to this?
Yes. So if you know of dinosaurs like actually Dilophosaurus, Coelophysis, or Herrerasaurus.
Yes.
Well, this body plan probably looks very familiar to you. They're very low to the ground. They actually have fairly short legs, and they're very long. This is sort of the ancestral body shape for a lot of dinosaurs, and including theropods. And Monolophosaurus here, it's so basal, so close to the ancestral theropod condition, we're not 100% sure if it is an allosaur or not. Different studies seem to go back and forth on it, but at the very least, it's close to the base of that tree.
Okay.
So figured it'd be a pretty good starting point. It also starts a few trends that we see in the later allosaurs. Again, big arms with big meat hook-like.
But we still put Monolophosaurus inside of the allosauroid category.
We are for this presentation. Like I said, sometimes it is an allosauroid. Sometimes it's found to be just outside.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about.
It's
so
very close
inside it. Inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is what the ancestral allosaur would look like. They would have had these big, strong arms with big claws, 3 of them. Actually, let's see, which is, theropods lose digit 5 and 1, right?
5 and 1, yeah.
So, okay. So their pointer finger, which is their first finger, actually had the biggest claw. That's a trend we see in all allosaurs, I think.
Yeah, it's a pretty well-known trait.
Yeah, they just have this huge thumb claw. And many of them are also crested. Actually, do we have any that don't have any sort of crest? I can't think of any.
No, not being an allosaur. No.
Not the allosaurids.
No.
No?
Not in the allosaurids.
So basically, all allosaurids allosaurids rather also have crests. Not always big and flashy like Monolophosaurus, but they're there.
Big and flashy.
Yeah. In fact, we'll be seeing a lot of eyebrow crests in particular later on in the stream. All right. Now, moving up the allosauroid tree, we come to one of the first major radiations, or one of the first big offshoots, those being the Metriacanthosaurids. This group is named after a dinosaur from England, interestingly enough. And it means middle-spined lizard, because actually kind of funny. So your vertebrae have a little spike coming off the end called the neural spine. Metriacanthosaurus's neural spines are midway between normal theropods and a theropod called Altispinax, which means tall spine. So middle spine lizard.
Which is different than what we're going to get into with Acrocanthosaur,
Yes.
which means high spine.
Yes.
So this one's very interesting to me.
Yeah, they're interesting. They're weird.
Was that a soccer player?
Yeah, I think this drawing has a soccer player for scale, which just made me giggle when I saw it, so I had to include it. Metriacanthosaurids are also where we first see the allosaurs start to get big. They're actually some of the first really big theropods. Some of them approach 30 feet in length, some maybe a little bit over. They could get up to 2, maybe 3 tons at the largest, which compared to that, the previously biggest theropod was maybe 15 or 20 feet long and half a ton. So they get big.
So where do these
also get
guys
these
sit on the feather scale?
We will talk about that more later.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's actually that's a whole conversation.
That's another thing, but we will get there.
We'll get to it. So not only do the Metriacanthosaurids get bigger, they also get much bigger heads, and the arms shrink a little bit. A lot of these guys have smaller arms, which sets them apart from most allosauroids, except for the latest ones.
Don't their arms kind of remind you more of like Abelisaurus?
No, they're not. They're not that small.
Yeah, they're not just like arms coming straight out of the shoulder sockets. They're still pretty small
In comparison, yeah.
in comparison to most allosaurids. Yeah.
Yeah. So they probably weren't using their arms for hunting much. They're probably mostly using their heads.
Coming close to vestigial.
I don't know if I'd say that.
Would you use those arms for anything?
I mean, maybe nesting.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I do agree they get smaller though.
Yeah, they do.
And interestingly too, so their tooth count does go down compared to previous theropods, but it still remains pretty high. Even in later groups, they have a lot of teeth, and they have these very sharp teeth. So here's our
serrated.
Very sharply serrated, quite literally like a steak knife.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they might have a higher serration count than most steak knives.
Yeah.
And here's our example, Metriacanthosaurid. This is Yangchuanosaurus. It's a large one from China. Most of these are from Asia, with some weird exceptions in Europe and maybe one in North Africa. Just they don't move around a whole ton. They mostly stick to the northern continents. And also, this group starts another trend we see with these allosauroids. They get these big heads, they get big, they get these strong builds, and the sauropods they live with usually have bite marks on them. A lot of bite marks on them, usually attributed to allosauroids. We see this especially with Allosaurus itself. It has way too many teeth.
Yeah, Allosaurus in general.
Or,
All
well,
the
or they just
teeth.
bit everything.
All the teeth.
I never get into it later, but were these guys pack hunters or solo hunters?
That's a good question.
We have evidence of some of them being pack hunters, and especially out here in Wyoming, with the amount of trackway sites that are together, we have high evidence that they're possibly working together.
Well, if not working together, they may have at least
nested together.
Maybe nested or mobbed prey and hunting.
I think so.
It's an open question that's really hard to answer with just bones. Trackways do help. And we do
help,
and we do have Allosaur trackways.
Yes, and then these guys the trackway sites and everything together. It kind of seems that way, but without further evidence, we would have to look further into that.
Yeah, so we just can't say for sure right now.
So, but these guys were mainly the northern continent.
Yes, sir.
Early on, some of them moved south later, which we will get to.
Yeah.
And again, we don't know what their hunting strategy would have been. We don't know if they probably didn't take on sauropods solo, at least not a healthy adult.
No, not the way the Big Al did.
They didn't leave any journals for you. They didn't leave any journals for you about their war efforts.
Sadly, no. I wish.
Leave us some journals. Dear diary, tried to get a diplodocus today.
But with that said, well, I'll save that for Allosaurus, actually. But up next, we do have another Metriacanthosaurid. So this one I wanted to include for a special reason, and that's because it's brand new. This dinosaur came out last year on
my birthday.
Yep.
Happy birthday.
August 21st last year.
Yep. This is Alpcarachus kyrgyzicus.
You want to try that again? Try that again.
Alpcarachus?
Alpcarachus.
I don't speak that language. I'm trying here.
Alpcarachus kyrgyzicus.
Alp. Kara.
That's right.
Oh,
that's Turkish, isn't it?
It's from Kyrgyzstan.
Okay, so it's Turkish.
Okay, I don't speak that language.
Alpcarachus kyrgyzicus.
Kyrgyzicus. Kyrgyzicus. And that's what I said. Anyway, enough clowning on me. New dinosaur. Very new dinosaur. It's named after apparently a bird monster from a local legend, which I think is really cool. And then Kyrgyzicus means it's from Kyrgyzstan. And we don't just have one, we have two. We have two partial skeletons, one of them being a juvenile, the other being a subadult, which were found together. So maybe they live together.
Different individuals
of different ages.
That's the same animal.
Yes. And as far as we can tell, buried at the same time.
And from the same area.
Yes. Now, keep in mind, we can't say they for sure lived together, but they got buried together. Okay. And I also found this just fun little bit of art of a hypothetical adult with an anime girl for scale. Okay. I just thought it was fun. And next, surprisingly enough, we usually get to big names like towards the end of these presentations. Not so for today, because Allosaurus is not a super derived allosauroid. It's from the late Jurassic, and the latest ones we have are from almost the end of the Cretaceous. So it's early, and it's really important. Obviously, Allosaurus is the namesake of the Allosauroid group. and it's known from 3 species, and it's found on 2, possibly 3 different continents. We have Allosaurus europaeus. You get no points for guessing where that's from.
And then
Allosaurus fragilis.
my true love.
Well, I thought your true love was Allosaurus jamadseni.
Well, it depends.
They're in a triangle.
Yes, there's a triangle of species.
It's a love triangle with the Allosaurs, to be honest.
Oh, and there's possibly Allosaurus material from Africa, but it's not confirmed.
Yeah, that's true.
There's
That's true.
So there's a tibia.
Yeah, and we don't even know if that's Allosaur.
No, it's theropod, but which that might sound kind of random. But during this point in Earth's history, the continents were much closer together. The Atlantic was much smaller. So there was a lot of animals going between Western Europe, North America, and Africa.
Going down to Larmidia.
Yes.
Somewhere in there.
So super widespread, really diverse genus. We see a lot of individual variation with Allosaurus, though we do see a lot of common trends and a lot of common injuries, which we'll get into in a bit.
Yeah. And that's so crazy that you mentioned that, because the injuries that we will get into are a big portion of a lot of, especially with like Big Al. So I worked on Big Al myself.
Here, yeah, I'll just go ahead and skip to Big Al.
No,
go ahead.
Go. I thought Big Al.
No, we're on Allosaurus.
Yeah, but see the tiny little owl bass.
Yeah, you made me.
I made you add that because I thought that's.
Maybe you should maybe try to rearrange. Talk about how you're gonna set the slides up before we go.
It's okay. Things happen. Anyway, this is a very important dinosaur to history. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, but not a ton. We're not going to.
Backyard.
Yes, it is
right
found
here.
in our backyard.
Half a mile, right here.
There's one found half a mile away?
No, he's like less than a mile away.
Well, Big Al was like 15 miles.
For only $1,000, we'll go in. For only $1,000, we'll go in depth about this dinosaur in the future in this game.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Or maybe.
Right. Some people are bringing up there has been a 4th species proposed, Allosaurus anax, but I'm not sure how accepted that is at the moment. Well, I guess can talk about that a little bit. So for years now, there's been another dinosaur similar to Allosaurus from the Morrison called Saurophaganax that has been found to be a chimera, meaning it's a mix of bone material from multiple different species. In particular, some sauropod remains and some really big Allosaurus remains. And the researchers who determined that proposed a new species. I'm just not sure how well that's been accepted at this point. It's actually very new. It came out just before Christmas, I think, actually. So it's very new. But maybe 4th species or maybe just big Allosaurus. Not sure. But for the history...
The Bone Wars! Do y'all know about the Bone Wars? Okay, because I actually had the pleasure of reading the journals of Marsh and Cope separately. So I know the differences and the way they
thought, acted.
Yeah, how do I say the S word but politely? The way they stuff talked each other. Is that how I say it? Yeah, the way that they messed with each other.
Yes.
So Marsh.
Maybe who are these people? Maybe start with that.
Oh, start with that. Okay.
Well, like who is this
So-
Cope? Who is this Marsh?
So in the 1970s,
1870s.
oh shoot,
Century.
1870s, there were these two guys that started the Bone Wars. There's Marsh and Cope. Edward Drinker Cope and Nathaniel Marsh started the Bone Wars separately, and they actually hired a bunch of Native Americans.
So, oh no.
Yeah, I know, I'm good. And they hired different people, different Native Americans, to sabotage each other's sites. And that was a crazy story all on its own. But one of my favorite things about Marsh is he would pluck the hairs off of camels and put it in these boxes, and that's how he
That's how he packed his fossils.
Yeah, that's how he packed his fossils, and you can still see it at the Peabody Museum.
Really? Huh.
So I'm a bigger fan of Cope.
Mhm.
Oh, is that my picture?
Yes, that's it. So
That's my
Sorry, words.
picture. So this is a picture of the mammal Edicabelia picture in the middle. I purchased that from a museum that was, what do I call it? Passing away.
shutting down.
It was she was passing away. So this is a picture of what I own now, and I don't open her without gloves. I did read her, but that's a whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just in short summary, the Bone Wars were this major rivalry between two prominent paleontologists.
And they were pretty bad. The
Yes.
rivalry was pretty bad. Both of them came after each other
Mhm.
with a headstrong.
Well, I think they just, well, at least my impression, they just wanted to show each other up and prove that their ideas were right. Because there was a lot of stuff tied in with this. Honestly, we cannot do the Bone Wars justice here. It is a saga.
If you can find the book, it's literally called Bone Wars, Cope and Marsh. I highly recommend that book.
It is, I would call it the height of historical drama.
It was, yeah, talk about drama, boys.
It's a lot of the stuff that happens sounds like it's straight out of a fantasy.
Yeah,
novel.
it doesn't seem real. The things they did to each other, as far as like sabotaging and all this stuff.
They blew up
It's not real.
fossils just so the other one couldn't get to them.
Yeah, they
So
use explosives.
So do you guys have you guys chosen sides in the Bone Wars, or are you neutral?
She has a side. I'm undecided.
Yeah, I'm a Marsh baby.
Now you're a Cope. You like Cope.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm a daddy Cope kind of guy.
She likes Cope.
Marsh is just mean. And then when I went to the Peabody Museum,
Mhm.
and I found all of Marsh's camel hair stuff. No, I know Cope was definitely the kinder one, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. Can you really like choose sides on something like that? I'm definitely a Cope girl, though.
So
I lied about being a Marsh baby.
Yeah. My impressions are that Cope was probably the more pleasant person, generally.
Cope. Yeah.
But Marsh was overall the better scientist, at least when it comes to extinct stuff, because he was much slower and more methodical with how he did his work.
I must disagree.
Okay.
I must disagree.
Okay. Hey, maybe we can have a full-on debate on this.
Oh, you want to do a Bone Wars discussion?
Bone War.
Bone War.
Will that be next week? That be next week's episode? The Bone Wars next week.
Bone War 2.
Well, at any rate, at the end of this whole historical saga,
You'll see.
in 1877, Marsh named a partial skeleton that he dubbed Allosaurus
They were both
fragilis. Allosaurus because he thought its vertebrae were shaped weird. We now know that it has pretty normal theropod vertebrae. It just Marsh was being Marsh. And fragilis because the vertebrae appeared fragile. Which we now know not exactly accurate
It's not
to Allosaurus.
fragilis as they thought.
No.
Yeah.
And I guess might as well go ahead and define the other two species. So fragilis, fragile. There's Europaeus, which from Europe, it's the European species. And then Gimadseni. Allosaurus gimadseni is actually named after Jim Madsen, who was a researcher who worked at, I believe, the Cleveland Lloyd Dinosaur Quarry.
Mm-hmm.
He worked there for decades and published a ton of stuff on Allosaurus. He's just been really important to our understanding of the animal as a whole. So in the 2010s, a new species was named after him, which I think that's pretty cool, honestly. Speaking of Gimadseni, there's one that is very famous. In fact, it is, I'm not even going to say probably, the most famous Allosaurus of all time.
And if you all haven't watched Ballad of Big Al, like
Yes.
Walking with Dinosaurs, you're missing out. Go watch it.
Yes. The Ballad of Big Al was a little documentary published by the BBC as a kind of offshoot of Walking with Dinosaurs. You can find it online. I don't think I'm allowed to say where, but you can find it online. Well, YouTube if you're okay with lots of ad breaks. But it's a very good documentary. They also had a making of documentary that described the science behind it.
That's pretty good too.
That documentary in particular, I kind of credit that with really getting me into paleontology. Yeah.
Really?
Well,
I didn't know that.
Well, just the way everything was put together in the documentary, how they explain the science and all the thoughts going into it,
I tried
made
to
me
put the
want to learn
CD
more.
in my Walkman CD player. It didn't work.
How'd that work?
How old am I?
I've seen a Walkman in a museum.
Oh.
Well, at any rate, Big Al. Big Al was found in the 1990s. Actually, quite literally, 15 miles that way. Just 15 miles north of us.
Yeah, she's right over here. She's in my backyard.
Yes. Al was a large subadult Allosaurus. He was apparently 17 years old, which is crazy to me. We actually had to look this up and dig into it the other night because I didn't believe it at first. I thought he was like 7 or 8. Anyway.
When she's 19, 17?
17 is the estimate I saw.
Yeah.
So
you got the right century this time.
Yay.
And 17 might sound pretty old for an animal. But Allosauroids are weird. They grow at a fairly steady rate their entire lives. So they would reach full skeletal maturity in their early 20s. Kind of like humans, actually. But unlike humans, where you usually have a couple growth spurts, it's just a nice, steady growth. And like many Allosauroids, he probably fed on the ornithopods, which we've talked about, and the sauropods that were found in the rocks surrounding him. Al himself was found a couple 100 feet away from the very historically important Howe Quarry, and he was almost collected by fossil sellers.
And we found an allosaur in Livingston at the O'Hare site
Oh, yeah?
above 2 diplodocus.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Didn't know that.
yeah. I'll show you pictures.
Okay. But Al was saved from being sold because a Bureau of Land Management agent just happened to see the excavation.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, oh no, the BLM. It's just
That's actually a
crazy.
good question, really quickly.
how do you compare dinosaur age?
So, Cody, it's more easily to compare dinosaur bone age by doing what we call lags, lines of arrested growth, where they look kind of like tree rings.
Yeah, and they form in a very similar way. Correct me if I'm wrong.
In comparison to human bones, where we don't have that.
Well, so there are.
We kind of do, but not in the sense that we have with dinosaurs or any bones similar to that.
True. So, what Nessie mentioned, lags or lines of arrested growth, they are lines in the bone, and again, they're tree rings basically.
It's like tree.
You get a ring during a period of very slow growth. Depending on what you are, like an animal or plant, that could be during a time of very poor nutrition, so you just weren't getting enough food to grow normally. Or some animals hibernate. We don't think many dinosaurs hibernated, so
yeah,
they probably represent the lean
the
season.
burrowing dinosaurs. As well.
Yeah, then, well, they might hibernate.
So I think the burrowings probably do.
But they usually track like the slow months, like winter or the dry season.
Yeah,
things like that.
and you can typically tell that when they have like the lags, the lines of arrested growth are wider, because that means
when there's
they
more
were
space.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can typically tell that based on that.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, and there's one more very fascinating thing about Al, which is part of why he's so famous, and that is all of the numbers dotting the skeleton, which are injuries. Allosaurus, for some reason among theropods, I think probably has the most injuries per individual.
Yeah. And what was it, 18 healed out of 19 injuries? This poor boy.
Allosaur or Big Al had about 17 healed injuries.
In the documentary, it says 18 healed out of 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I guess I was off. But
that's still a lot of injuries.
Oh yeah, look, the toe is number 19 down here. You're right.
Oh God.
You called it. You called it. And keep in mind, these are injuries that affected the skeleton.
Yeah, this poor boy.
How often do you like get bruised or cut and it doesn't reach your bones? These are just the bone-breaking injuries. Yeah. This Allosaurus individual survived.
Leg, toes. And I dusted this boy. I dusted this kid.
Yes, you have
several times at Museum of the Rockies. If you want to find her real bone, whatever.
I mean, we can call it whatever.
Saying what I want to say. If you want to see his real foot, he's at the Museum of the Rockies in Bozeman,
Montana.
What did I just say? I feel like I just had dyslexia moment.
Did you just?
I did. I had
a
dyslexia. I had a micro stroke. I had a dyslexia moment. If you want to see what he looks like, you can find his foot up top at the Museum of the Rockies in Bozeman.
Yes. And you didn't just dust his skeleton, right?
No, I cut her open too. I'm a destructive paleontologist.
So Nessie does, if you haven't caught our videos or streams before, Nessie does a lot of osteology and histology. Yeah. So looking at bones under the microscope.
Yeah, I cut them open. I want to see what actually was happening.
Was there anything notable about Big Al's toe? And actually, I'll pull up a separate image just so we can show people. But was there anything?
Yeah. So we figured out that Big Al was about 5 or 6 years old when
Well-
the toe was hurt.
He was 5 or 6 when it was hurt.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was one of the last injuries he had.
He was like 5 or 6 years old when the toe.
Huh?
That's not even what it looks like.
No.
That's not even what she looks like.
Okay, I'll find a better shot.
It looks like a big old softball.
Is that a better picture?
Yeah, I
Or
guess.
it's this one?
It's a nasty old big softball.
Right. He has this just massive outgrowth of
Yeah.
bone on one of his
And he
main toe
was like
bones.
5 or 6 years old when that happened. So
Oh.
he was dealing with that for over a decade.
Yeah.
All by his lonesome.
I didn't realize he was so young.
Taking care of that baby. I love him. Yeah, so when we cut that open, we saw the legs, the
Mhm.
lines of arrested growth, and that was about 6 years old
Within the lump or below the lump?
within the lump.
So he lived for 6 years with this injury?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
I had no idea. Huh.
He's just a baby.
Well, apparently he was a teenager.
And just still.
just a baby.
He could be 40 years old and he's still just a baby.
But that's not the only injury that Big Al has. Vandalia, would you mind moving us so
Right,
people can
okay.
see the image? Not a problem.
Mhm.
So it's kind of hard to follow the numbers here, but he has a broken neural spine on his neck. He has multiple broken back vertebrae that somehow survived. Apparently, he has a puncture in the top of his hip.
And his ribs.
Oh, yeah, he also just has a line of snapped ribs running down one side.
Yeah.
He has a broken tailbone. His arm was torn, just
Oh, yeah.
possibly just
Wow.
completely out of socket and just unusable.
Poor
And
Al.
his right foot is just messed up beyond belief. This Allosaur had a very rough life. But the weird thing about Allosaurus is that's not weird.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty typical with a lot of different allosaurs.
Yes.
So, like, look at the walking case studies, right? So, we have a lot of them.
Yes.
Several different individuals
well-
that have problematic.
We have a lot of individuals with broken bones all over. And
Yeah.
again, these are the injuries that affected their bones.
What was
Most
the-
most injuries don't.
What was the dinosaur broken jaw?
Also Allosaurus.
Yeah, so
We have one with a
but
completely broken lower jaw, missing most of its teeth.
crazy.
And we have a lot of Allosaurus too. It's weirdly common, especially for a theropod. We have at least 50, possibly up to 100 individuals that are decently complete. And almost every single one is covered in injuries.
Yeah.
Right up here is Big Al 2. It's another Allosaurus that was actually found right by Big Al.
Mm-hmm.
And
Neighbors, cousins.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe.
Something like that.
But yeah, this poor girl, she had a broken jaw, broken arm, shoulder, ribs,
Several broken ribs.
neck
and
vertebrae.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. She had
And the toe bone.
a broken butt and toe
Broken
problems.
No.
If you can name a bone, there's probably an Allosaurus that has an injury there. And not just Big Al2 here. Here's an Allosaurus tail vertebra that has a puncture wound,
Oh yeah.
probably from a Stegosaurus,
Well, it looks like a Sagomizer went right through, right?
right through the tail. A lot of these injuries seem to be caused by Stegosaurus.
Yeah.
We even have one that is the lower part of the pelvis, where
I just swooped.
I don't know if the allo was like lying on its side or if the stego could just twist its tail, but this dinosaur has a puncture wound through its pubis. That's not a good place to get punctured.
Good time to get punctured.
One of the early vasectomies.
Oh yeah, the earliest version.
Maybe.
No, they had cloacas.
Yeah,
That doesn't even happen.
Actually, that would be somewhere up here, but that's not that kind of straight. Something I do want to point out though. Yeah, this will probably be better for it. Funny enough, a lot of these injuries on all of these Allosaurus are localized too, and some of them actually have implications for its behavior in life.
Yeah.
Turns out Allosaurus was very prone to shin splints. So
could you imagine?
Yeah, well, weighing
being
like 2
prone to
tons.
shin splints and being 2 tons.
So if you think
Poor
about how a
thing.
human gets shin splints, they get them when they run too much or jump too much or start lifting weights irresponsibly. I actually got shin splints from that in high
Did
school.
you weigh 2 tons?
No, fortunately.
Just messing with you.
But it's a really common injury. So were these guys jumping and leaping around?
Could you imagine running around on such heavy weight?
Yeah, just not caring.
Oh, I just made a Jurassic Park joke on accident. But without knowing.
Yeah.
And then
you just hurt.
Then you just hurt.
Another reason has been proposed for the feet, though, which is they might have like ripped at their prey like hawks do, where they just pin it with their feet and then.
Can I get that on a shirt?
Sailor Star Sparrow says vasectomy by Thagomizer, 0 out of 10, not recommended.
I just want the first
Just
sentence.
vasectomy by Thagomizer.
I want that on a shirt.
Put that on a shirt.
Yeah, so the walking case study, yeah, I mean, if you look at the blue picture, you can see where the Thagomizer kind of slips up through the bone.
Yes, it's a puncture wound and an abscess.
Yeah.
So this Allosaur had to just sit there while it healed. And the injury just carved out a hole in the bone. There's another injury, though, that's common in Allosaurs. Their arms.
It's all of the injuries. Well, why does this Allosaur get all of the injuries?
Well,
are they just
fellers? My guess is they just fought everything in their ecosystem.
They did too.
Actually, a study on this came out just last year. We have Allosaurus bite marks on everything in the Morrison.
I know we do because I've dealt with them.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's tracks and sauropods, different stuff out of the Morrison and Montana.
It's just sauropods.
Bad dog.
Very bad dog. Very, very angry dog.
They're just bad dogs.
But we have their bite marks on sauropods, ornithopods, stegosaurs, other theropods.
Marsupialians.
No, not marginocephalians.
No trikes.
No trikes. Not
trikes. What am I? Oh, my Edmontos. Or my hadros.
Camptosaurus.
Yeah, Campto. Yeah.
Oh, super quick. We do have a super chat on my end from Vamsy Jessica Manda. They say, very interesting tonight, guys. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. Imagine, I've heard this stuff for almost 24 years.
Yeah.
I have no idea why you would... Oh, my face isn't on screen. I have no idea why you would have heard that for specifically 24 years. How interesting to say.
I could say the same thing about Pachycephalosaurs. So here we
are. But yeah, these things, they just seem to pick a fight whenever they want to. and they weren't picky about who they fought. Honestly, I'm just wondering if they were just really aggressive for some reason, and that's just not something we can know from the bones.
Bad dogs.
So were these guys the alpha
Alice
predators of their
was
time,
bad
or
dogs.
more of a mesopredator?
They would have been a top order carnivore. I mean, your average Allosaurus was about 25 feet long,
Mhm.
25 to 30 feet, some possibly up to 40 feet long, just some fragmentary remains.
Bad dog.
I mean, so I love this picture that I found from the American Museum of Natural History. You can see this little girl here next to an Allosaurus. Like, these things aren't small.
Stop it. That's my ghost. Move on.
All right.
Just kidding.
But it's a fascinating animal, and we can infer a lot about its behavior from its bones. It's weird. It's cool, and it's one of my favorite dinosaurs for a lot of reasons.
The Vammy. Vammy.
But Allosaurus is not the last of the Allosauroids. Our next group is the last group, but it is a very important one that is still very important to me and Nessie. These are still some of our favorite dinosaurs, and they're cool and weird. So most Allosauroids disappear by the time the Cretaceous starts. But one group within them almost makes it all the way to the end. Those are the Carcharodontosaurs. And suitable for it being a mouthful of a name, it translates to great white shark-toothed lizard. It's a long name, and I'm pretty sure it's a long name because it was named by a German.
Okay, well, it's still Tom Carr's favorite dinosaur.
Really?
And when he has his kids, I called them all Carcara babies.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's Carcharodontosaurus is his favorite next to Despleto.
Huh.
Yeah,
I would have guessed T-Rex. I guess I'm wrong.
I thought so too. One would think. Shark-toothed lizards, though, like what a cool name that would be.
Yeah. I mean, funny enough, their teeth don't really look much like a great white shark's, but they are big and very sharply serrated. Having held Carcharodontosaur teeth in my hand, which we'll talk about in a bit, they're more densely serrated, I think, than any other theropod, aren't they? Here, sorry, just a second. Nessie's just going to run and get something quick. While she does that, so the Carcharodontosaurs, they don't just get big teeth, they just get big. These are some of the largest theropods to ever walk the earth. They're some of the largest predators ever to live. And they're commonly depicted as sauropod specialists. In reality, they probably would have just ate whatever made its way into their mouths. But, I mean, I'm not going to say no. It's definitely possible. The group itself is named for Carcharodontosaurus, a dinosaur which was almost lost to us thanks to World War II. As I alluded to before, it was collected by a German scientist. He was not a member of the political party you're thinking of. In fact, he strongly opposed them, which is part of the reason why his fossils didn't get put into museum storage during the war. So, yay! But Carcharodontosaurus hunted in North Africa. It would have lived in a very swampy environment, though it may have preferred the more solid floodplains. See, this is a weird area just on Earth where we have a ton of massive carnivorous animals. We have huge crocodiles, carnivorous fish, and I believe 4 or 5 different, just huge theropods walking around. There's Carcharodontosaurus, Spinosaurus, a relative of Carchar called Temeryraptor, which was actually just named recently. Oh, and this isn't a Carcharodontosaur tooth,
It's all good, baby.
but we do have a little shark tooth here to show y'all. Nessie has a baby megalodon tooth.
Baby.
Yeah.
But I'm still wearing my tree star.
You can wear both.
Yeah, but it's a tree star. Let your heart guide you. Can wear both. What are we on?
Well, we're going on from Carcharodontosaurus. Unless you have anything in particular to say about it.
They're kind of a bee to work on.
You've worked on them?
Yeah, that one on Displeta.
No, you never told me you worked on a Carcharodontosaurus.
MOR. If
Oh.
you know what, basically, if anyone's watching and you want to learn anything about dinosaurs, either go to MOR, go to the Museum of the Rockies, or go to the Royal Tyrrell. Those are the two. Yeah, if you're in Canada, or if you got your passport. And then when you go to Canada, get a picture next to the Packy in the sidecar and send it to me.
Oh, and yeah, paleoanalysis is right. There is a large theropod named Rugops from here too.
Yeah, that's true.
But moving on.
Same formation, yes, correct.
Next, we're going to head a little bit farther north, actually, to España.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
España.
Vandalia, you asked us about feathers earlier, I believe, right?
Yes. Where they lie on the downy feather scale of their future cousins.
This dinosaur.
Now, that's a really fun question because we have skin impressions from some Allosauroids, mostly Allosaurus.
You haven't been to MOR.
Not yet, but I've seen pictures.
Okay.
And most of our Allosaurus skin impressions just show scales. In fact, I think all of them just show scales. From Spain, we have a small Carcharodontosaur named Concavenator. And it's from a rock formation. Well, it's from a locality called Las Ollas. And this area is just famous for spectacular fossil preservation. We have just about the entire skeleton and skin impressions from most of the body, also showing scales. But the fossil preserves its forearms. And on its ulna, so the outside bone of the forearm, there are bumps that look a lot like quill knobs.
Yeah.
Which you only really get if you have feathers anchoring to the bone. This is something we see in birds today and in raptor dinosaurs like Velociraptor.
Mm-hmm.
They have quill knobs and they have big feathers on their arms.
We also see that in juveniles.
Juvenile.
Other owls.
Really?
Yeah.
Other juvenile? I never heard about this.
Yeah, I built them. And
you've seen
Japan.
them? You've seen them on small Allosaurus?
Yes.
Huh. Well, I guess we have them on Allosaurus too.
Concavenator's not the only one that could potentially have quills. And you've seen them on babies.
Yeah, I think you're talking a little quiet.
Seen them on bigger babies than this one.
I was not aware of this. I'd never heard that before.
I'll show you some pictures.
I'd love to see them actually.
Okay.
It's
not just this one. There's 3 others I got to show you pictures of.
Huh.
Over when I was in Japan.
Yeah.
They have quills too.
Well, I guess I'm learning things tonight too. Well, there is another weird feature of this dinosaur, besides the quill knobs, I guess, and that is this hump
That
on its
hump.
back.
Yeah, that hump is
That-
weird.
This shark-toothed lizard has a shark fin on its back, and that's just built into the vertebrae. This isn't some speculation or some soft tissue thing we think it might have had. No, its vertebrae make a hump in the middle of its back, just in front of the
That's
hips.
not bifurcated, huh? That's
Nope,
just a straight
it's just a
nose.
hip. I'll pull up a picture of the skeleton.
Ew, she's ugly. I don't like her.
This? You got to look at the fossil up close. It's
Yeah, that's
Uh,
wrong.
no, this is the
Yes.
skeleton.
That's wrong.
This is just the skeleton.
No, that's wrong.
I'm pretty sure this is just the skeleton, Nessie. What's wrong about it?
Everything about her.
You
I
sure?
don't like her.
Well, are you saying it's wrong as in
No
it's
way.
not accurate? Or
There's no way.
this is just what its skeleton is.
Evolution would have chosen to get rid of her.
Well, apparently it didn't because it existed. This is just the
How
skeleton.
long did it exist? Maybe that's
don't
why
know.
evolution got rid of her. Because
Well-
that's not great.
We have an animal from almost 30 million years later with the same structure.
What?
We'll get to it later, but we have one.
Boo.
This was a thing that exists. This is what its skeleton
Okay.
looks like.
Stegosaurus too.
Oh,
Look, that's hideous.
it's cool.
No.
Have you seriously never seen its skeleton before?
No, not this one. Poor thing.
Well, it's not.
That poor thing.
It's not pathologic. It's just what its spine looks like.
Imagine having like perpetual scoliosis.
I know that's what it looks like, but it's an adult.
She'd be in pain for like all of her life.
I don't know what to tell you. You're getting mad, but this is just the animal.
No, I'm not getting mad. I just think that's dumb.
Well, it's just the animal.
So that you see
I've never
anything?
seen this picture of
Do
Concavenator.
you want to see the skeleton of a kiwi? Those also look dumb, but they exist.
You ever seen a kiwi give birth? You ever seen
I've seen how
images?
big the eggs
the
are.
X-ray?
I've seen the X-rays.
Ooh, that's dumb too.
Yeah, but they exist. That's just how they are.
That doesn't mean I have to like it.
Fair.
Don't show me. Ugh. You made me throw up. Don't show me a kiwi. Ugh.
Sorry, folks. We're just having fun
No.
over here.
I'm just
Anyway,
messing. I'm just messing.
I know it's weird, but I think it's really cool we have something like this. I like it when we get weird. It's just the bones.
I don't think it is.
It from the authors of the papers.
I'm going
it's
to
just
need
the
to see the bones and the paper.
Okay, we'll look at the bones in more detail later. Because there's good scans online. Anyway, Concavenator corcovadus. If you're a normal person, you'll see concavenator and think it means concave,
Concavenator.
referring to the back. It doesn't. It's a pun. It's a concavenator is a pun on the province of Spain where this was found, Cuenca. So it is the hunter from Cuenca with the humpback,
I didn't
corcovadus.
know that.
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
That's super cool. Actually.
It's not concavenator. It's
Oh, it's called a
Cuencavenator.
concava.
Quincaventor. But yeah, odd animal, regardless of if it's the only one with feathers or not. I don't think Nessie is happy, so we're gonna move on. Well, here's something you do like.
Yeah, my true love.
Well, one of them.
Yeah, well,
So
Wyoming, my
yeah.
second true love.
Back to
from here on
back
out-
to America.
yes, from here on out, we'll be staying in the Western Hemisphere. Although this is our last one from the northern hemisphere. This is Acrocanthosaurus atokensis. It is the first example we really have of allosaurids getting absurdly big. It's the start of a trend with these carcharodontosaurids where they get to T-Rex size.
Yeah, so their name actually translates to high-spined lizard.
Yep, Acrocanthosaurus, yep.
Yeah, and so anytime someone asks me a question about them here in Wyoming, I'm like, Wyoming's T-Rex, but like taller.
I mean, you're not wrong. It was
I know.
Actually, funny enough, it has shorter legs than T-Rex, but the spine does
But
make them the same height.
Lifts her up.
Yeah, they're the same height at the hips.
I know. And then what did I do with that one tooth that I found?
Oh, so
How did I save her?
So Nessie Nessie has found Acrocanthosaurus teeth, and she put one in her mouth because I don't know why.
You gotta save them. Sometimes you gotta save them. It don't matter how you save them. You gotta save them.
Are they your new teeth now?
I wish.
This one tooth was
It was pretty
like that big on her face.
Mm.
Carcharodontosaurids get just huge teeth. Like
Yeah.
the crown of the tooth can reach like 6 or 7 inches.
I found that next to the croc scutes. So a scute is the same thing as like an osteoderm. So you know the things on the back of crocodile backs,
Right.
those big things. Those are huge.
Yeah, you found it with croc scutes, turtles, raptor teeth.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff, but this one acro tooth was like, what did you say, about that big?
Yeah, about that big.
Yeah, about what would you call that? Like 3 inches?
3.5.
Yeah, she's pretty big.
Yeah. Now she has found teeth. I haven't found any teeth yet. But I have found bits of bone from a very large theropod in the same formation. And Acrocanthosaurus is the only one known from specifically the Cloverleaf Formation, is where we do a lot of our work.
But I work with Tom Carr on Carcharodontosaurids.
Yeah.
Tyrannosaurs. I worked with him on Daspletosaur. So working with Acrocanthosaurus is crazy.
Yeah, this is also a dinosaur of many names. For some reason, it in particular has gotten a lot of nicknames.
This is one of your personal favorites?
Yeah, it's one of my personal favorite dinosaurs.
That's cute.
It's like it's in my top 3. It's the third.
Okay.
But where was I going? So this has been called the All-American Dinosaur. It's been called the Terror of the South.
Yeah, that's true because it's mostly in Texas.
Texas and Oklahoma,
Yeah.
And South Carolina.
That's right. I thought there was one found up in like Maryland.
Yes, and there's part of a young Acrocanthosaurus from Maryland.
That's crazy.
Okay, never mind. I was gonna say, so this is the Bible Belt dinosaur.
No.
Don't play with them. T-Rex don't play with long necks.
Just imagine it walking up to just imagine opening your door and seeing that face. Do you have a minute to talk about our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ?
No.
We'll
probably get in trouble for that.
Fine. And like I already mentioned, huge teeth, tons of serrations. Like you can just they're like a file. If you look at a file, but on the edge of a knife. And it's also the only Carcharodontosaurid currently known from North America, which is also bizarre. In fact, it's the last allosauroid known from North America. After this, they're all gone from North America, and the last remaining Carcharodontosaurs are found in the South.
Not the giga. Why'd you use that picture?
It's a great picture.
Aww.
You know, Agueto's a great artist. So after Acrocanthosaurus, which I just realized we haven't been saying how old these things are.
Oh shoot.
That's my bad.
Yeah.
We're currently about 90 million years ago. These are the last of the Carcharodontosaurids, the last of the Allosauroids.
So they
There's
they
just
get to, so they make it to the asteroid.
No. They don't make it to the end of dinosaurs. They do get close, but they don't make it all the way there.
That's why Tyrannosaurs made it to the end, but these particular Allosaurs did not.
Yes. Well, they're replaced by some dinosaurs in the southern continents. Abelisaurs, which we'll talk about eventually. They're weird.
Stupid.
They're murder sausages, is how I refer to them. And if you look up Majungasaurus, you'll see why. And the Megaraptors, which have debated placement. Oh, yeah, she bought a Majungasaurus recently. Lifted it a bit more.
Yeah. Majungasaur.
Although its legs are too long.
Hey, I think you guys are backwards again.
Or arms.
Well, body and tail are too short.
Yeah.
I think you're backwards again in your mirror.
Yep. Oh, are we?
Because hold it up again.
Hand.
Hold that up. Hold it up again. Your
is reflected. Huh.
Look at his stupid little arm.
That's weird.
Bellasaur arm.
Oh yeah, they actually did get that right. Abelisaurids basically lose their arms for some reason. Unlike Megaraptors, which get big claws. Anyway, the last of these Carcharodontosaurids. Mind swapping us in the presentation? Thank you. These are all Giganotosaurids, meaning they're related to Giganotosaurus, the giant southern lizard.
Is that what Giganotosaur means?
Yep.
Huh.
Giganotosaurus carolinii, Carolini, after the fossil hunter who found it, who apparently later became a museum curator nearby, which is kind of cool. Yeah, named after him. Mapusaurus, I forget what its name means. There's Meraxes, which sounds Latin, but it's actually from Game of Thrones. It's named after after a dragon in Game of Thrones.
Right.
And
you asked me that earlier, huh?
Yep. And I think you guessed Caraxes.
Yeah, because I was thinking Syraxes and then I mixed Meraxes.
Yeah.
But I still pretty much got her, didn't I?
You got close.
Man. Well, and you haven't met I have an eagle that I take care of.
I haven't met her yet.
Kyria.
Which also Game of Thrones.
Oh. Yeah. She's
big Game of Thrones fan. I've never seen it.
I've
never seen it.
You keep going.
And lastly, Tyrannotitan, the tyrannical titan. These are all huge carnivores, nearing, if not exceeding, 40 feet in length. They would have hunted sauropods, ornithopods, and they're really famous, but they also have some weird traits that not a lot of people know about.
That's true.
The sacrum, or the vertebrae between the hips for Meraxes, suggest it might have a concavenator hump. So, yes. You want to see the skeleton?
Yeah, I'm going to see the skeleton.
Okay, I'll show the skeleton.
I don't like how you have the kiwi egg
Just there.
just chilling on them. Sounds weird.
This is this is Meraxes skeleton. It has a dip here.
bad as the other one.
I didn't say it was as bad, but it's there.
The other one's so bad.
It's similar.
I don't like the other. This one's
Well,
fine.
It
I'm
might have
fine
had a
with
hum.
this one.
And also,
No,
Us-
Giganata. No.
no, Meraxes.
Oh. All right. Well,
Um,
still don't like her.
And there's also been osteology done on Meraxes.
Osteology or histology?
Osteohistology.
You got me there.
It might have been in its 50s when it died. It was at least 45,
No.
and some of the inner lines of growth were obliterated.
Wow.
Yeah. So these things got old too, which is weird for theropods. Most theropods seem to die in their teens or 20s, but carcharodontosaurs seem to get pretty old. And this is a trend with them. If you'll recall, earlier in the stream, I mentioned that Allosaurus kind of had a steady growth curve.
Yeah.
Carcharodontosaurs just keep that going.
Well, that's interesting.
They continue growing into their 20s and 30s. Yeah, they just don't stop growing. It's weird, but it's also kind of cool. Like there's not a growth curve, it's a line. The Giganotosaurian Mapusaurus was also found in a bone bed with multiple individuals of different ages. So maybe it lived in family groups or a pack. We don't know. But it's weird that they're all found together. And it's led to suggestions that maybe they lived in packs. You looking for the comments?
No.
Okay.
No.
Look at the one.
You're ready for the questions? Or are you more show?
Are we at the end?
We are at the end. So
is Giganata the end?
Yes.
Okay. So if anyone would like to ask some questions,
yes.
We are here.
I scrolled back and for the first one I get to that wasn't already off the thing. Hit the first question.
Bipedal means walking on two legs. Which you can be upright or
Caden,
you can be sideways.
Just kidding. You're a grandpa Moraes.
Next question.
Also, there's a lot of art of Giganotosaurians hunting sauropods I didn't include.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen the one with two of them doing an eddy to a baby sauropod?
Eddie.
Yeah. Yes.
No.
Yeah, apparently that's the thing.
No paleo analysis. I do not want any kiwis.
He's just saying he might know something.
I don't care. I want no kiwis.
Scarface brings up.
That's nightmare fuel. Eddie's right. That's nightmare fuel.
A little bit. Sorry. We have a question from Scarface here. Were dinosaur teeth strong or hollow like Triceratops horns?
They were strong. This is Cody. They were strong because they were enamel. Mm-hmm. We find them in better shape than we find most bones.
Yes.
Because they are enamel. Mm-hmm. And what do I call them in the field? Shinies. They're a lot stronger, actually.
Like Nessie said, teeth are made up of dentin and enamel, both of which are extremely tough biominerals. So they hold together really well.
Don't you dare. If you send me a kiwi or an egg, send me an egg kiwi.
I see another one from Scarface. Are Metriacanthosaurs related to I think he's starting to say Acrocanthosaurs. They're related. They're both allosauroids.
What's he asking? Which part?
If Metriacanthosaurs are related to Acrocanthosaurs.
Yeah, because they're both allosauroids.
Yeah, they're allosauroids.
Yeah.
Caden is asking for a tour of MOR.
Come on, Caden. Let's go, buddy.
We'll just make it a big
Just
field
make it
trip.
a big. This is dinosaur. No. No. Steve.
Oh, it's fine.
No. Do not give me a kiwi. Please.
Vandalia, could you highlight Scarface's question about he says, could it be possible that big I'm guessing carnivores? I can't see the rest of that. It's cut off.
Well, it's at the bottom. It's at the bottom of the list. I'm going to start from the top to the bottom.
Oh, fair. Oh, Tyrannotherium says they thought Metriacanthosaurs were related to megalosaurids. They are related in that they're both theropods.
Yes, but they're separate.
Yes, they're not closely related. Metriacanthosaurids are allosauroids. Megalosaurids are an earlier branch.
Let me find the next question on this list.
I see Vamsy Jessica Amanda says, you two should take your show on the road. Well,
should we get one of them like jukeboxes that goes like ding, 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 and get like a dental truck?
Do you want to talk about the invite you got recently?
No.
Okay.
I do not.
We might be doing things, but we can't talk about them. Let's see. For some reason, some of the comments are just disappearing into the ether. It's weird.
I know. I guess I'll only last for about an hour or so. But here.
So I said pumpkin toilets.
What?
Oh, no.
Pumpkin toilets.
Where?
Oh, toadlets.
Oh, toadlets. Eddie McCoy surprised mammals were able to outrun dinosaurs. Well, most mammals were smaller than most dinosaurs back then.
I should show my artwork.
What's wrong?
Crush the packy or the lanky crushing the dog, smashing the rat.
Oh dear.
And then the packy that goes.
I am seeing more questions, Vandalia. Are you trying to draw us to a close, or?
I'm just trying to find. Trying to go in order.
Dinosaurs are related to birds. How does the meat-eating dinosaurs have teeth? Oh, that's a question for me.
Which came first, the teeth or the beak?
Teeth came before the beak until they turned keratinous. So, as a person that's personally worked, Cody, I thought I told you about this. I worked on the dino chicken, right? So it's called a Hockshoe, F8H8. The gene that works on them. This one. Okay. Focus.
Yes. Okay.
Teeth
what
came
does
first.
a Hox gene do?
The Hox gene turns the teeth into the beak and vice versa, which is what we flipped off in the dino chicken.
Well, specifically, isn't there one for creating the beak and another just for teeth?
Yeah, that's.
We already answered that.
Oh dear, we dropped a thing.
I didn't say that out loud.
You're fine.
No, that's the Hox gene.
Right. At any rate, teeth came first. All dinosaurs, as far as we know, ancestrally had teeth. We do have birds with teeth, actually. Ichthyornis not
Ichthyornis and one that starts with a V that I can't think of right now.
There's a lot of them.
There are birds that still have teeth, but they're more keratinous.
They're not teeth. They're just beak serrations.
We had birds that had teeth.
Yes, and I'm actually pulling up a picture here.
Hesperornis
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did Cope Marsh name Ichthyornis? No, it was one of them. So here, would you mind putting up what I'm sharing on screen, Vandalia?
Sure. Hold on. There.
So this is a skeleton of Ichthyornis, which is a bird that had both a beak and teeth.
now the majority of modern day birds that we have now have even the ones that have teeth are more keratinous.
Teeth.
Yeah, quote unquote teeths. They're not anything like teeth.
Yes.
But that's how that switched over.
Tyrannotherium is asking why we wear gloves. Rocks are sharp, and we also work in a place that has a lot of cacti.
Yeah, that dang one. Dang it. We found that sauropelta.
Sorposeidon.
And I stuck my hand under it, and there was all of a sudden,
Yeah.
boom, there was a cacti.
Last field season, we went to investigate a site we're working at. We just started sliding down a hill, and someone randomly encountered a new skeleton.
Uh-oh.
We managed to dig a bit of it out, and yeah, it was just this big sauropod vertebra.
Yeah.
But as we were digging it out, Nessie stuck her hand into a cactus.
Well, the cactus was growing underneath
The fossil somehow.
Yeah, so it wasn't my fault. But I still stuck my hand in there. And I was like, that was pretty bad.
Eddie is asking, what do we mean by subadult? So there are a few stages in growth. Like you have a baby, which is like a newborn to a few months old. You have juvenile, which are usually a couple of years old, depending on the animal you're talking about. Subadults are nearing maturity, and they might even be able to mate and have offspring, but they're not done growing.
Yeah,
Adults are fully done growing, or at least most.
I can't scroll down. Scroll down here.
Yeah, scroll down there. Sailor Star Sparrow asks if the foot injury contributed to Big Al's death. Probably, eventually. I
don't think it did.
Really? Oh, because he lived for so long?
Yeah, that boy.
6 years, you said.
Yeah. I think he learned to survive with it.
I mean, who knows? Maybe he lived in a pack and they helped.
Do you remember Broken Jaw from what was that?
Dinosaur Revolution. Okay. I'll pull up another picture here. We just rewatched a documentary we saw years and years ago.
I cry every day for Broken
Jaw. It's a documentary series that's definitely not for everyone, called Dinosaur Revolution. But
okay, don't show something too bad.
I'm not.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm gonna show the adult.
That's fine.
Ooh, actually, this one's really good.
Oh, that's nice.
That's fine.
He's cute. Okay, he's fine.
So yeah, this is Broken Jaw. It is an Allosaurus in the documentary.
And it's a real Allosaurus.
Yes, based on a real one.
There's an actual Allosaurus that has a broken jaw.
Yeah, this is what it would have looked like in life. It's kind of crazy, but it survived. It lived long enough for the jaw to heal.
And it was comedic. Every dinosaur in this was
documentary.
built by in this documentary was built by like Tom Holds.
I forget who the exact artist was, but he's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but it was built by a lot of people, and the dinosaurs.
David Kretz.
David Kretz. They're all so pretty.
Yes, they're all great.
They're gorgeous. Even the sauropods, and I call them sorry pods, but sauropods are fine.
Scarface asks if the Allosaurus is the lion of the Jurassic. Who is the hyena? Cerrato.
Oh, Cerrato.
There's a slightly smaller theropod known from the Morrison called Ceratosaurus. Probably that. Ceratosaurus also had really weird teeth, like really huge teeth for some reason.
Yeah.
And just had a kind of funky build. It was a weird, short little animal, but I really like it.
I think it's cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
Face only mother could love.
Real toothy grin. Scarface also asks if there are dino bones in Japan.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are.
Most of them near Fukui, Japan.
I can't.
You can't talk about that, but there have been a few dinosaurs found in Japan. Fukui raptor. I think it's either Fukuya or Fukuisaurus, which is like an ornithopod, and Gojirasaurus,
Yeah.
which is named for exactly what you think it was named for.
And obviously.
And I love that. Would you be surprised if Jurassic Park becomes reality?
Bit does. I've been trying to make the Dino Chicken come to life for what's it been? Gosh, 10
Over a decade.
years. Yeah, I thought she would be done by now. We don't have her here yet. No, I wouldn't be surprised if Jurassic Park becomes a reality, and I hope it does. But you already know that I work on a lot of the Jurassic World movies, so I'm trying in real life too.
And not exactly like Jurassic Park, but I
hope it does.
I think we'll do something for sure.
Well, okay, so if the Dino Chicken becomes the reality, when she becomes a reality, she's still gonna eat chicken feed. She's not gonna automatically change her diet
Also,
to humans.
I'm not going to say who it is, but my mother is watching and she wanted me to show a picture. Before I do that, I just want to not that image. This. So there's Big Al, and here's me well, it's not going to show up well. But here's me holding a cast of his skull.
Oh, and then I'll take a picture of him holding the football when I take him to the Museum of the Rockies.
Might show up better if I lower my brightness. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's not the real skull; it's a cast. But I did get to hold it, and it definitely made my day. Also gives you a sense of scale. Big Al is big. He's a subadult Allosaurus, but he's still a really big animal.
Oh, fucking angry child.
Oh. Scarface asks, could it be possible that the big carnivore's arms to be medium size? I think he's asking if it's possible large theropods could have big arms. Yes. So Allosauroids in general have beefy arms. They're not huge, but they are very well muscled. And even the latest ones have these big meat hook claws. And there's a separate group called the Megaraptorans, which I mentioned earlier. Could be Allosauroids, usually recovered as Tyrannosaurs. It's complicated. But they all have really big arms. And some of them got to Allosaurus sized. We also have a $5 super chat asking me to look at a photo they sent me. So thank you, Nancy, Jessica, Amanda. I did. I showed it.
Dinosaur King. It's cute.
We did answer this question, Vandalia. Caden, just come out here. We'll go.
Right.
If we all want to take a collective tour to the Museum of the Rockies, I can get us down in collections.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
And then I can show you the specific bone in the Yoshi that I broke.
Oh yeah,
how I got my start.
Hey, I'm not going to say don't worry about breaking fossils, but
drop them on the floor. Super glue is cheap.
They break a lot, including some famous ones that some of us have worked with.
Caden spares no expense.
Scarface asks, we did already answer this one too.
Yeah, we answered that one.
Yep. Teeth are ancestral to all dinosaurs.
including birds.
Beaks with teeth are ancestral to birds.
They are.
Last question.
Yes.
Last question so far.
Okay. What are your thoughts on Dinosaur King?
It's cute.
I loved it as a kid. It's hokey, but it's fun. It's
cute. I love Dinosaur King. It's cute.
it's Pokemon with dinosaurs.
Yeah,
it's just
Pokemon.
fun. It's fun.
All right, those are the last questions on the list that I could scroll back up to.
I mean, we have been going for almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we want to talk about?
Does anyone else have any other questions about dinosaurs or
Paleontology? Rocks?
yeah, paleo in general?
You like crystals? If not, Vandalia, you have any plans on your channel in the near future?
Jaden, can you email me that?
I currently have nothing planned at the current thing except for our next episode, whenever that might be.
That's fair.
And whatever that might be. Whenever and whatever topic that might be.
I really love y'all coming and joining us today. This was really fun. Really loved speaking with you on Allosauroids.
And we loved answering your questions.
Yeah, we like answering questions as well.
So, what topic do you think we will conquer next?
I want to do Packies.
We already did Packies.
No, we gotta go more in depth with Packies.
Oh,
I feel
a certain subtopic of Packies?
And then, for this series.
Sure.
Give me a live stream, just not part of this series, since they were already covered.
For only $500, we'll go more in depth if you want to. Donate $500 to our channels. Just kidding. Or are we?
Okay, maybe Packies. Otherwise, I vote Ceratosaurs because they're next on the therapy.
Just like I've done, I've written Packies of this world. Do this myself.
Hey.
All right. So, if you guys want that Ceratosaurus, tell us, or don't, or tell us anyways.
Sure. Tell us if you want Ceratosaurs or a Packy deep dive. This is
Miss
Pachycephalosaurus over here.
Yeah, and then I don't.
Sacrificer of children.
I am the sacrificer.
So we go more of a going into a clade of a clade then of a clade.
Yeah, we're just focusing.
Pachycephalosaurus too. Pachycephalosaurus harder.
There are some fun Pachycephalosaurs we didn't talk about. So maybe
I gotta do homocephalae, brenocephalae, homocephalae.
Hamaldo.
Hydrocephalae.
We have one vote for them, and we have one vote for Packies.
Oh, looks like we have a couple votes for Packies. Here, how about this? We'll put up polls on our channels, and whichever gets the most votes, we'll do. So you guys can decide Ceratosaurs or Pachycephalosaurs. You know what? If you want, you can vote on both of our channels. Help stack the deck in your favor.
Ceratosaurus is fine.
Yeah,
Make the lady happy.
We'll put it on the docket.
No, Paleo. I'm not doing K-Waste. No.
And with that, I think that's a good place to cut it.
Okay. It's been real, y'all.
It's been fun.
I think I'm gonna do Packies again.
Okay.
But I'm gonna do
ontogeny.
Okay.
Well, I get the people. Come on, people! You're the deciders.
Let people vote.
¿Por no que esos dos?
¿Por qué no los dos? I guess Ceratosaurs are a smaller clade.
See, I'm gonna do.
Hypothetically,
I'm gonna do Packies.
Well, we will
Whether
do both
you're part
eventually,
it or not.
Oh dear.
But
I'm doing it
one at a time, Sparrow. One at a time.
Okay. Well,
pat me and
okay. I'm gonna start running. You guys have a good night.
We'll see y'all next time.
not the Kiwis. Oh, you didn't.
Hey, Thanks for watching my podcast or Let's Play. If you want to help support my channel, you can make a monthly or yearly pledge on Patreon, or just a one-time donation on Vimeo, PayPal, or Cash App. For those looking for something to wear, we have some shirts, hats, and other stylish things in our merch store. If you enjoy gaming, you can always follow and sub to me on Twitch. For those who don't want to give money, I have an Amazon and Steam wish list who can help the channel out. And of course, just liking, leaving a comment, and sharing this video helps more than you can imagine. And always remember to never stop learning and enjoy the randomness.